Welcome to another episode of libGDX-Graph devlog. In this episode, I'll show you how to use a new feature of the libGDX-Graph, which is a particle effects. And as an example, I'll create the exhaust for the starship, as you can see here. So I start off with this very simple pipeline graph, where I just draw the diffuse texture of the object. And to add particles, I go to choose particles shader, and I'll insert it after rendering the models. I have to connect the camera and the lights in here. And I'll create a new billboard particle effect. What billboard means is that every particle is going to be rendered using a quad, so a rectangle, or however you skew or modify the shape of it, and it's going to be always facing the camera. So it's going to look sort of 2D, but it's going to be actually rendered in a 3D, so depth matters, everything like that. So stuff's going to be obscured by particles, and particles going to be obscured by other stuff being rendered. So I have to name it exhaust, because I'm creating exhaust of the starship. Okay, and we start off. So as you can see, this one is pretty much more complex than anything else. So first of all, we define how many particles we want to have, maximum number of particles we want to have in an effect, how many particles are created initially when the effect is started, and how many particles are generated per second. In addition to that, for the particles specify the position, rotation, size, color, and alpha clips. This is things that you've been probably have seen in other places, the color alpha clip. And as for blending, we have the same. For most particles, not always, but most particles are going to be using additive blending. And here we under this separator, we have the preview, so we can let's maybe make more particles. So 5,000, and we're going to generate 500 per second. So as you can see, we are doing sphere, surface, or a point, or a line. This is basically how it's going to be generated. This is only for preview, because how it's going to be generated, you actually specify in the code. Let's maybe start with point for now. So first of all, I want to work on the position. So it's going to be exhaust, so it's going to be start at one position, it's going to move towards some other position. So what we start off with the particle location, which is in the particle part. And I want to add to it some value that depends on the lifetime of the particle. So particles of course are created and destroyed after a certain time, and particle life percentage is basically the returns value from 0 to 1 as the particle's life progresses. So I'm going to multiply this basically how much I want it to move over life. I'm going to add it here, and what I want to multiply it is by, let's say we're going to go with vector. Actually, maybe no, I'm going to merge here vector 3, because we are operating in a 3D, and in the Z position, it's going to be a constant of -0.5 in the Z. As for X and Y, I'll use the particle random. Particle random basically means that it's going to be a random value between the minimum and maximum that you specify. And for each particle, for a particle, it's going to be always the same number. So we are guaranteed that if a particle starts going in a specific direction, keep going in this direction. And maybe Y is going to be half of that, -0.5. 0.5 to 0.5. Okay, so we specify this. And we already are seeing in our preview that our particles are going in this direction. Maybe a bit less of them. I want to have shorter lifetime. And a bit like exhaust. Let's zoom it in a bit. Yeah, okay, so now we have already position of it. Maybe now let's work on color of it. So I want this start off with one color and finish off with another color. So what I do it is provide two color constants. Maybe let's do like a bluish plane. It's like, and going towards gray, dark gray. It almost disappears or becomes basically a smoke. And once again, we want to have it over particle life percentage. So we start off with this blue, light blue, use lerp. Start off when the particle spawns, it gets this color, and when it dies or is close to dying, it has this color and anything in between. Okay, so the reason why you are seeing them because it's additive. Oh no, there's also alpha. So alpha, for alpha, let's go with, first of all, we want to go use shape, dot shape. We profile particle UV. Okay, that's better already. And I probably want when it appears looking like this with less particles per second. And I want this to fade out. So towards the end of the life, it should be getting more transparent. So I'll introduce here a multiply. So I'll multiply the alpha based on the dot, and I'll multiply it by particle life. But I want to reverse of particle life because at the beginning something is 0, so I want to inverse of it. So math arithmetic 1 minus. Over time it fades out, and I want to start off with 3. So 3 is going to be the maximum of alpha that we're going to get here. Okay, maybe now I can make it a bit more particles. Right, constant stream. Okay, so that's already good. Now size, I want the size to grow over time. So once again, I'll take the particle life. I can reuse the same nodes here, but I can use it as well as this. And I'll remap it because it goes from 0 to 1. I'll remap it from constant 0 to 1. So this is the range that I'm getting the value from the particle life percentage. And I will remap it to 0.05 to 0.3 and attach it to size. Okay, so it looks much better as an exhaust, like an exhaust now. I don't have to do rotation because I'm using the dot shape, so the rotation doesn't really matter. Okay, so let me save this and let me run the application that uses this effect. Okay, it appears I'm doing in the wrong direction. Yeah, I probably have to reverse this. Okay, let's come back to the program here. And it should be minus 0.5 here. Let me reload the particles. Okay, and we are having Starship with exhaust being displayed. I hope you find this useful. Please consider subscribing and liking the video. Thank you for watching. Bye.